hands together, inviting our lineage root Guru, His Holiness Living Buddha Lian to perform the Dharma transmission and to expound on Hevajra. First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, to His Eminence Master Sakya Zengkong, to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and Master Dukten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, the Nairyatma, or the selfless Buddha Mother. Sumu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the webcast, and our honorable guests today. Professor and Mrs. Zhu from Academia Sinica. Mr. and Mrs. Zhu, Chief Advisor to the Legislator Liao Sheng-yen, Mrs. Li, Miss Li, not Mrs. Miss. My sisters. And the program editor of the TV program, 给你点上心灯, lighting your light, the light of your heart. And the TV host of the TV programs Platform Sutra and Tantric Exposition, Vajra Master Lian and Miss Pei Jun. And also many other guests of honors that did not register themselves. I would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And wish you have a good New Year and good afternoon. How do you do? So today, Simu is not here. So Semu now is in Bali Island with Fochi, Sunny, and Jaden and Jean. The four of them flew from Seattle to Bali, and we talked on the phone, and the two grandkids had some rash on their skin because they came from a very cold place to a very hot place, and their skin feel hot, and then they couldn't adapt, so they had some problem. So the two grandkids just stayed in the hotel room. They didn't go out to play. Because they came from a very cold place to a very hot place. And now they're going back from a very hot place to a very cold place. So it's one earth. And some places are very cold and snowing, and some places are very hot. So one heart, two feelings. So it's hard to make life fair. So the Homa fire offering today is that of Nairatmya or Dakmema, or the selfless Buddha Mother. And this is a very rare and fine between for anyone to have this Homa. Because the origin of this selfless Buddha Mother is that we would talk about the lineage of the white sect of Tantra Buddhism, the Kagyupa. It started from Tilopa to Naropa, and they were Indians from India. From the Jomi East, Marba started there. And Marba asked this Zomi is that's fine to have this sadhana, but this is a great Dharma practice. So you need to give me 9 ox and 49 goats and all of your wealth to be offered. And Marba, when he heard that, found that that's too expensive. So he sold some of his assets and gathered some gold, and then from Tibet he went all the way to India to find Naropa. And then Naropa told him about the concealed essence of Hevajra. So the 6 yogas of Naropa is the same as the 6 yogas of Tilopa. And that's the lineage. So the Kagyupa lineage is from Tilopa to Naropa to Marpa to Milarepa to Kampopa. And many others Dharma kings of Kagyupa. Of Karmapa. And Naruba transmitted the consort of Hevajra, which is Nairatmya, or the selfless Buddha Mother. And in Tantric Buddhism, she is considered as a tremendously huge spirit of Tantric Buddhism. Is considered in Tantric Buddhism, there are the three classes: the prajna, the middle way, and the consciousness only. These three classes combined. So the symbol of no self or selfless philosophy of these three classes embodied in this selfless Buddha Mother. And the consort of Marabha is also this. And actually, this selfless Buddha Mother is not just one, but anyone that is practicing the consort of Hevajra in the future, they will all be called Nairatmya, or the selfless Buddha Mother. So the selfless Buddha Mother is a symbol. And in the Tantra, it was mentioned so what is this called? The phenomena of the perfect attainments. That's when there is no self-nature. So, no self-nature. That's the perfect enlightenment, attainment. And in the most profound or deepest meaning of this no self-nature is there is no self. Because there is no self, that's why there is no self-nature. So that's the true meaning. And that's the manifestation of the perfect attainment. So this is very difficult to explain. And we all know about selflessness, like Bodhisattva, that in the prajna, Bodhisattva needs to learn to be selfless. And mother means she is giving birth to everything. Like when we generate bodhicitta, so we generate bodhicitta by the spirit of selflessness. And by the spirit of selflessness, we deliver sentient beings. By the spirit of selflessness, we cultivate spiritually to arrive at the perfect attainments. So this point is very important, very important. And talking about lineage of the white sect from Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Kampopa. And after Kampopa are all the monks or the Sangha members. Milarepa was lay practitioner. Marpa too was lay practitioners, also Naropa and Tilopa. And after Kampopa, all the lineage gurus were ordained. in Kagyupa, because Kampopa was ordained in the Kadampa sect or school. So the monks of Kadampa, they went to Milarepa to seek Buddha Dharma, and later on became the lineage guru of Kagyupa, which is Kampopa. And after Kampopa, a lot of the great living Buddhas from the black sect. So now is the 17th incarnation, Karmapa, Karma Doji, from the Ujin. So there's two 17th Dharma King of Karmapa. And the 16th Dharma King Karmapa I met in New York and received empowerments and blessings from him. So that's why I have the lineage from the 16th Dharma King Karmapa. That's the lineage from the white sect through Grandmaster. And the selfless Buddha Mother, the selfless is the great spirit, great state of mind. And Mother means giving birth. So everything is manifested from the selfless Buddha Mother. And that's not just one deity, but anyone practicing from the selfless Buddha Mother to give birth to all skillful means and to all bodhicitta can be called the selfless Buddha Mother. And the mudra, her right hand is holding the curved knife and her left hand is holding a kapala or skull cup. Skull cup implement or kapala. And Dhamma brother Chizong, he would take out a kapala prior to meals, and then he would place the food on the kapala and then eat from it. So the Chinese would be shocked seeing him eating from a skull cup. So maybe Qizong did not have any money to buy even a bowl to eat. So he just picked a skull cup and eats from it. Actually, that's not the case. So Qizong's kapala is molten with metal, and he eats from it. So the Nairatmya is holding curved knife and kapala, and also holding a kachanka, which is a staff, which also symbolizes Padmasambhava, is a tool to eliminate the greed, anger, and delusion. And in Tibet, so the herukas, they are like dancing tango. One leg is straight and the other leg is bent. So that's the posture of dancing tango. So the posture of herukas are like that. of Herukas, but for the consorts, she's also in a dancing posture, one feet on the ground and the other feet is in the air. And that's the mantra. And in the bed, that's in Tibetan. That's the mantra of Nairatmya. So that's the body gesture and the hand gesture, and then you can perform a Dharma practice. And the practice of the Nairatmya is primarily for subjugation. Talking about the selfless Buddha Mother, it is quite difficult to be selfless or to have the spirit of selflessness. That the three Dharma seals of Hinayana Buddhism, one of them is called that everything is impermanent and everything is unrelated to self, and nirvana is extinction and quietude. So these three Dharma seals were spoken by the Buddha, that everything has no self, that it does not have self-nature. All Dharma or everything has no self-nature. If you can reach such a state that everything has no self-nature, that's called the selflessness or the no-self. And bodhicitta is generated from the spirit of selflessness. If you can be selfless, then there will not be any wars between countries. If you are selfless, then you will not have any wars within families. Then you will not have any disputes and arguments between people either. And it has been said that Buddhism is a religion of no contention, and that's generated from this state of no self or selflessness. If you are not for yourself, then you will not have any contention. But if you are for yourself, then you would have contention. So there are wars between countries because there is the concept of self. But if it is no self, then there is no contention, no disputes, no wars between countries, within family, or among people. So there is contention, that means that everybody is still attached to self. So anyone that have disputes or arguments means you still have attachments to self or egoism. There's this joke. There's this lady and her husband drinking wine in the backyard. And the lady said, I really love you. Without you, I don't know how to live my life. And when the husband heard that, he cried. And he never heard his wife saying such wonderful thing that I truly love you. Without you, I don't know how to live without you. And his eyes started, and he took out his handkerchief and wiped his eyes, his tears. And then when the wife saw the husband, she asked, What are you doing? I'm talking to my wine. Oh, I really love you. Wine? I can't live without you, wine. She's talking to the wine, not to the husband. But the husband started to feel very touched, So that's misunderstanding. So when two people are together, when there's ego, then you would not be able to get along. But if you treat each other with no ego, with no self, and vice versa, and you use a great love and a true bodhicitta to treat each other, then your family would be perfect. So the true and false, right and wrong in this life, and disagreements in this world. That's why spiritual cultivators have to remember this one important thing. You need to learn to be selfless. If you go deeper from selflessness, that's the non-arising. And then if you go deeper, that would be enlightenment. So today we will continue to expound on the emptiness within great bliss, the exposition on Hevajra. So I have covered until the chapter 11 and the mantra chanting. These are the Dharma like spells that's not to be transmitted, but I am telling you. On page 55, the Buddha said that these are all spoken by the Buddha. And the key point here is great compassion on the Sutra of the Great Compassion and the wisdom of empty nature of Hevajra. So this is to break all the spells or the black magic. Someone told me that someone cast a spell on me. And sometimes they are the masters, Dharma educators, or Dharma teachers, or all the reference, and told me someone cast a spell on me, and so this Dharma would be best for it. Sakyamuni Buddha said, to break all the black magic spells is you take The seed from a pine is a pine seed. You know what a pine seed is? And a white lotus blossom and the iron breaking grass. I've said this at the Rainbow Temple. We don't know what is this iron breaking grass. If you go to the old market and go to the herb store and ask them, what is this iron breaking grass? Maybe they know. If they don't, you find a Tibetan and ask him, or Tibetan Lama, what this is. They would know. Dharma brother Qizong, do you know what this grass is? You know. Then you can ask Dharma brother Qizong what this iron breaking grass is. Oh, he doesn't know? So he knows or he doesn't know? Oh, he doesn't know, so don't go find him. Go to the herb store instead. Or ask the abbot of the Sakya temple of Taichung. They often come here, so ask him. He would know. And the nectar pill, you all know, because True Buddha School also has this nectar pill. So pine seed, white lotus blossom, iron breaking grass, these 4 ingredients in equal portion. It's like a what? Walnut? That as big as that. And then you grind them into powder. And the most important point here is the time. And after you combine them, mix them, and then form in the form of X, like an X. So the fact that I started to talk about Hevajra today here at Taiwan Lichang Temple is very interesting because it coincides with the time that we have the Homa of Nairatmya, the consort of Hevajra, the selfless Buddha Mother. That's the consort of Hevajra. So the Buddha Mother that Hevajra embrace and have the dual body practice is Nairatmya. So and then these 4 ingredients are grinded into powder and then make a form of an X. An X, A-X-E. And the time is very important. You can only do it when you have a sun eclipse. And you need to check when the sun eclipses. So you need to make sure that it is the day where the sun eclipse happened, and take these 4 ingredients and form an X, and then you transform yourself to become Hevajra. So you, or the cultivator, the practitioner, becomes Hevajra, and both of your feet are stepping on that X that's made from that 4 ingredients. And you recite the mantra. This is the mantra that you have to recite 100 million, a million times. Oh, no, Amitabha. A million times of this mantra. It's not that you recite it at the sun eclipse, stepping on the X. But you have to recite this mantra. And then you recite it 1 to 3 times when you need to use it. But normally, you just recite this mantra over and over before. But on the time when you have the sun eclipse, you make an X form from the 4 ingredients and step on the X. And then you recite the mantra 1 to 3 times, then you can break all the black magics and the black curse and spells. Then all the evil spirits will be discarded from your body, from yourself. And then you do this practice when there is a sun eclipse. But it is rather difficult because you have to complete 1 million time recitation of the mantra before. And then the time is at the time of sun eclipse. And then one of the ingredients is the iron-breaking grass. So this is quite difficult to accomplish. And you take equal portions of all these 4 ingredients and then form an X. So this is a little difficult. But this can break all the spells of the evil spirits. And once you recite the mantra, all the evil spirits will be subdued, and they will never come back again. So that's how the Dharma practices. And we talked about the Nairatna earlier. So to save others, we also use this selflessness. So there's this riddle that I like to ask you, or the masters. There are 2 people going to the ocean to play. One is called Xiaoming, and he was being carried away by the waves. And who is the other person called? Called Jiuming. This is riddle on Chinese words. So when we see kids walking on the street, we would be nervous for them. So that's a very natural bodhicitta. So today on the road we saw an accident. There was between a car and a motorcycle, and the person got hit, was laying on the road, and the cultivators naturally recited Amitabha, Amitabha Namo Buddhaya. We recited for them. That came naturally from our hearts. So bodhicitta should be like that. And those who cast black magic or spells or curse, for what? We are helping others, and there's not enough time to help others. Why do we want to harm others? So as spiritual cultivators, bodhicitta is generated from the selfless state of spirit. We always help others. We never have time. We don't even have enough time to help others, moreover to harm others. So a true cultivator will not cast evil spell or curse to others. A true cultivator always help others, generate bodhicitta. And this is one of the important thing in Buddhist practices. So if you still cast any curse or spell to fight toward others, that's not generating bodhicitta. You're still being bounded by your own bad habits. So True Buddha School is a Buddhist religion of true faith, because we just generate bodhicitta to help other beings. We just want to help others and not to harm others. So at the time of Sakyamuni Buddha, the Buddha once killed a robber because the robber wanted to harm 500 businessmen. So Sakyamuni Buddha, at the time of his time at the Bodhisattva path, he killed the robber in order to save the 500 men. So you have to measure and consider, because by killing one person you help many others. So there is such thing, but even in this case, you need to have enough power and ability to send this bad person to the Buddha land. So there is such a story from the past lives of Sakyamuni Buddha. So even that he killed that person, he had the power to send him off to the Buddha land. But by killing this one person, you have the effect or the retribution of killing that person. But then you send this person off to the Buddha land to let him have a better life, then you would also have retribution for that. So there was such a Dharma practice. But after teaching this practice, I heard in the English website that Grandmaster has this way has this practice to kill others. Amitabha, Namo Buddhaya. This person must not have finished hearing all of my teaching, because this was taught by Sakyamuni Buddha, not by me. I didn't know about this practice, but Sakyamuni Buddha does. And it was mentioned in Hevajra. So someone said that Sheng-yen Lu taught others how to kill others. But oh my grandma, oh my brother, oh my God, that's not my intention. But Sakyamuni Buddha taught this is the way to kill a bad person and then send him off to the Buddha land in order to save many others. And then you send the consciousness of this evil person to the Buddha land. So that's not killing, right? So someone was really sick. And he got a letter sent by the friend, and because he was very sick, he did not have any energy to read the letter, so he asked the nurse to read it. And the friend wrote, during the time you're sick, I was very busy, and because I was talking in business and I was very busy and didn't have time to visit you. But when you are to be buried, at the time of your burial, I will definitely make time to attend your funeral. And when the patient got this kind of wish, he probably would die. So you cannot do that. So there is a retribution to killing others, unless you can use Dharma power to send the consciousness of the person you kill and send him off to the Buddha land. And the one that's killed is very evil. And this also happened to Sakyamuni Buddha when he was walking the Bodhisattva path. So in this practice, you need to get a sharp leaf. What does it mean? Like a needle leaf. Or so it's like needle. Like a pine needles. And then you need to write the name of the evil person on the leaves. Can you write it on a pine needle? It's impossible. It seems like I cannot talk about this. I cough. So you need to write the name of the evil person on this leaf, and then you wipe this paraxon. It's a kind of insecticide on the name of this evil person on the leaf. And then you perform homa, fire offering, with the deity Hevajra, and then throw the leaf into the fire. Oh, I'm about to cough again. This is a real cough. And the mantra. And you need to recite this mantra 10,000 times. Beforehand, you need to recite this mantra, and during the homa, you need to recite it 21 times. I never do this Dharma practice. I never do this. I like to clarify. So, as a spiritual cultivator, you're generating bodhicitta. It's quite difficult to do such thing. But who can judge who? A human being cannot judge other human beings unless you have the Buddha eye, Dharma eye, or the divine eye, and you're very clear that this person is full of evil. You cannot just use your own perceptions or your senses and then judge the other person as evil. That's not allowed. You cannot do that. And you're not a judge that can judge a person lives. How can you judge using your physical senses that someone is evil? You have to have a divine eye, Buddha eye, Dharma eye. Cat's coughing. I don't have a cold. Otherwise, all of a sudden everyone would say I am catching a cold. Let me just take a sip. This rarely happened to me. I don't cough. Even if I cough, I would cough in my own room. But today, on this Dharma throne, I'm coughing. You know, I'm very strong. How can I cough? So, Grandmaster is robust. It should not be cough. So maybe because talking about this kind of Dharma practice. So I urge you not to do such a thing. You have to have a divine eye, Buddha eye, Dharma eye. Otherwise, even judges can misjudge, especially just human beings. So you're competing with me? in coughing. Someone else coughed. Someone having a dog on a leash and went to the pet shop and said, I want to return this dog to you. But this is a very famous watchdog. And he said, what? What kind of watchdog? You know, I lost $1,000 yesterday and he didn't even bark. And then the boss said, you know, his owner before was a billionaire. Billionaire. So $1,000 for that dog is nothing. Because he was a good watchdog for the billionaire. But $1,000, oh, it's no big deal. So Grandmaster has great value. That's why I don't have a dog. It's not good to kill others. Because at the end, every human being is the same. Whether you're good or bad, at the end you walk the same path. Someone used this analogy. When you're just being born, there is that walking wheels, and the baby, you know, that round thing, and the 2 feet, you use it to learn to walk. So you started with such a seat. And then as a toddler, you entered into elementary school. Your chair is very short, small and low. Small and low. And the fat adult would overflow it. And also there is that toddler seat, you know, like in the restaurants where you have that kind of chair and then there's that little table attached to it. And then the elementary school chair, and then the college student chair where it has like a table attached to the chair where you can write on it. And then you started to work, or you work in the office, or there is a chair that can rotate and turn. That's probably made of leather. And at the end, you sit on a wheelchair. So this changes on the kinds of chairs you sit, symbolize your life. So the walking chair, and then the child chair, elementary school, college time, in the office, or as a CEO, and then wheelchair. And you can even sell your wheelchair. Doesn't matter what you are, that's how you live your life. So think about it, what is good, what is bad, they all come to the same end. So there is no need to kill others or to kill an evil person, because at the end they all come to the same thing. Dharma sister Linda wrote something to me that family is a field of responsibility, whether it's fat, rich or poor, it's a field. So between husband and wife, it's a karma. So whether you live, you get along or not, so whether it's a sage or a bad person, you just open one eye, close one eye. So being born, growing old, getting sick and died, that's happened to you and happened to me. So die early or sooner or later, at the end we both go to heaven. So what happens to the kids, whether success or failure, that's natural. So all your wealth cannot be carried when you die. So that happens whether you're rich or poor. So in getting along, when you're happy, I'm happy. So between you and me, your heart's wide open and my heart is also wide open. So why are you arguing and fighting with each other? There's no need. At the end, they're all the same. All the same. Those with conscience, you go to heaven sooner or later. And you have a wicked heart, and sooner or later you go to hell. So what use is it to cast a black spell or an evil curse to others? Because at the end, it's the same. There's no need. Don't haggle over it. So those who have cold, sooner or later, they cough. But Grandmaster has no cold. Just now that was because talking about this killing an evil person, this kind of Dharma practice is too daunting. Someone wrote, the sun called the rooster to wake up, or the rooster called the sun to wake up. So is it the sun that waked the rooster, or the rooster waked the sun? The answer is the rooster called awake the sun up. Why? Because the sun cannot cry, cannot talk. In my Dharma teaching, talking about this no self or egolessness, that the emptiness or empty nature talked about in the Hevajra, that's the selflessness, and the consort of Hevajra is the selfless Buddha Mother. And the Dharma practice of the selflessness, the most important thing is, and the most important meaning talking about by the Buddha is in this no ego or selflessness. That's why the practice of selflessness is number one. So this practice of egolessness appears through the natural causes and conditions. Like today, when we saw those people in accident, we just naturally recite Namo Amitabha. Doesn't matter what he is, how he is, we still recite it for him and hope that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would bless him and that he would recover soon. On TV, when Grandmaster sees something, accidents, or in Philippines, there are many who died. There was a typhoon from Manila that killed many people. That was in the news a lot. I also recited from them because I encountered it, so I helped them just naturally and then delivered their bardo spirits. So everything is created by causes and conditions, even generating bodhicitta. You and I and everything arise because of causes and conditions. So there is no self-nature, there is no intrinsic nature to it. So what is this self-nature or intrinsic nature? Is that there is no nature, which means there's no self, or no self, no nature, no self-nature. That's all the same. And this is the key point spoken by the Buddha. This is the key point. All the Zen koans just run around this. No self, non-arising, no self-nature, no nature, no intrinsic nature. Why? Because only this way you would be able to see the way, to see the Buddha nature. So everything that has forms and has motives is just like bubbles and dews and like a smoke in the mirrors. So what we do is we do with no motives, and everything has no self in it. And this is the true and the right teaching of the Buddha. And then also the true attainment and the true enlightenment. So today in performing the Selfless Buddha Mother Homa, it coincides with the time I started to talk about Hevajra again, here in Taiwan, the first time in Taiwan. And emptiness is the same as no self, or no self-nature, no intrinsic nature. So look, is there anything that has intrinsic nature to it? Like rock and sands, water. They have no intrinsic nature. What it means is, yet when you divide it all the way to the end, it has nothing. It's nothing to the atoms. It's the same to a human being. This physical body is an illusion. It's a combination of the four elements and arise or appear because of causes and conditions. So the Buddha said that everything is due to the causes and conditions, and at the end it is empty. So it has no self, no ego, no nature, no intrinsic nature. So this is the concept of the perfect true nature, or the perfect form or manifestation. So the Buddha taught us, use the no self and no motives to generate bodhicitta to help all sentient beings. And this way of delivering sentient beings is called the selfless bodhicitta, and bodhicitta with no motives, and bodhicitta with no expectation or no action. And everything is due to causes and conditions, and at the end you have no self and no nature. So if you have embodied the spirit of no self and non-arising to mark or to seal everything, then all slanders, criticisms would be transformed, and then you can stop all afflictions and all troubles. And that would become the Buddha nature, and that's the manifestation, the perfect manifestation of everything. That's the key teaching of the Buddha.